Zohra Elias is from Algeria. She's a climate professional. She's a social activist and founder of Womanti, promoting education for girls and women in Algeria. So welcome to Feminist Question Time, Zohra. How do feminists get the message across about women's human rights in your country?
Although Algerian women played a key role in the war for independence from France, which lasted from 1954 to 1962, the battle for gender equality has been long overshadowed by the nationalist struggle. Since 1962, government officials have formally acknowledged women's central role in the construction of an independent nation. However, very few grassroots feminist organizations developed in the 1960s and 70s. Combatants in the independence struggle often argued that nationalist objectives were more pressing decision. Thank you. That's for the first question.
So our second question is, what role does religion play?
The National Liberation Front, which led the independent movement and remains the ruling party in Algeria, was largely ambivalent on ground issues. The social aspects of its ideological advocated women's equality, but more conservative strengths within the movement viewed women as the vessels of Islamic and traditional values. However, some existing freedoms have been recently challenged, including religious freedom. The broader political conditions have also helped to obstruct progress. Thank you.
What are the biggest issues for women in Algeria?
The actual situation for Algerian women is complex and often ambiguous. Some religion discriminatory and should be replaced by secular civil laws. Groups last years showcases growing activism and civic involvement among women. However, the feminist movement continues to face challenges. Women's rights organizations are increasingly fragmented along ideological lines, and activists do not necessarily have the best strategy for achieving further advances. Thank you.
As you know, in the West and in many countries, there's a promotion of gender identity ideology. Are people promoting the transgender ideology in your country, in Algeria?
All citizens are entitled to equal access to justice, regardless of their gender, and women are fairly well represented in the judiciary as judges and lawyers. However, in practice, women typically either do not know their legal rights or refrain from asserting them through formal legal channels. This is particularly true regarding claims involving domestic violence, sexual harassment, and rape. The reluctance to pursue these claims can be attributed to several factors, including the real and perceived biases in the law and the ongoing prevalence of patriarchal attitudes in society.
Will you tell us about your organization, Womanti? Womanti.
Womanti is an organization that aims to promote education for girls and women in Algeria in particular and in general in the Africa and MENA regions. It suggests different opportunities and resources to there are for girls and women in order to improve their skills and their knowledge.
We in the West or in Western Europe and many countries are having a new situation where men say that they are women, that they believe they are women because they have gender identity. Do you have that in Algeria?
The situation here in Algeria, as you said, is clearly not at that point. There are not people with different identity or people holding the women identity are really marginalized, and they don't identify themselves. The society doesn't accept them as persons, so they are not recognized by people, so they are like overshadowed.
Yeah. Does the government recognize transgender ideology, the idea, or does the government not welcome this?
Unfortunately, the government doesn't recognize those people with transgenders in Algeria. As I said earlier, they are marginalized and they're living in small communities overshadowed.
Yeah. And how about lesbian and gay rights in Algeria? Is it possible to be openly lesbian or gay?
Unfortunately not. We cannot actually be to go to your gender. They are little bit marginalized.